Hi, my name is Bill Webb, aka Billy Indiana. Today I'm going to teach you about a solo version of Dominion that I recently learned. I love Dominion. It's been one of my favorite games. It was one of the games that really got me into more modern gaming a few years back, and I still love it. It's still one of my favorites. I rank it a 9 out of 10. I know some people think it's simple, but and there's a lot of people like other deck building games more. And to be honest, I haven't tried a lot of other deck building games yet. I'm still pretty early in my whole experience of understanding these modern games, but I just love it. Even with when I have learned much more complex games, this one's still just fun for me. And there are opportunities to play it online, but sometimes I just really like to have the cards in my hand. But often, because I'm the only one in my family who does love the game as much as I do, often I don't have anyone else that really wants to play. And I searched online and I found a couple of versions on Board Game Geek of solo variants, and they were incredibly well thought out, incredibly well designed, play tested. You could tell. I read through the instructions, but I ended up not really giving them much of a shot. And it wasn't because I didn't think they were going to be good games. It just felt to me like it was going to be kind of a different game, and I just wanted that old Dominion feel. And so rather than using those versions, I kept looking for videos online, looking for resources online, and I finally found this little kind of obscure video with computer voice dub over on part of it and then subtitles on another part of it. And I made enough sense out of it that I started playing basically this version that I'm going to show you in this film. And what I'm going to do first, though, is just if you haven't played Dominion, which there's probably not too many that would watch this film that haven't played it, but just in case, a real quick overview of how you play it. And if you already know how, you can look at the description down below and click on the timestamp to take you up to the introduction of the solo version. So first off, you set up the game with the 3 victory cards. We've got provinces, which are worth 6 victory points, duchies, which are worth 3, and estates, which are worth 1. And each of these different kinds of victory point cards cost something. So an estate costs 2, a duchy costs 5 coins, and a province costs 8. And then we have the 3 types of coins, the 3 types of treasure. We've got gold, which costs 6 but is worth 3. We've got silver, which costs 3 but is worth 2. And we've got copper, which doesn't cost anything but is only valued at 1 when you're using it as a buying power. Then you set out 10 different types of cards that you're playing as actions, and some are treasures, and some are victory points, and some are attack cards, and some are defense cards or reaction cards. But you choose 10, and there's online randomizers you can pick. In the instructions to Dominion, you can also find some suggested lineups of cards. I've just picked some of the cards that I really enjoy and put those 10 out. And generally speaking, you want to put them in order of cost just for ease. So this one costs 2 coins. It's called the Courtyard. This one costs 3. It's Shantytown. This one's 4 for the Baron, 5 for a Royal Seal, 5 for a Market, 6 costs for a Nobles, 6 for a Harem, 6 for a Horde, 7 for a Bank, and 8 for a Peddler. Although, excuse me, the Peddler has an opportunity where if you play action cards in the turn where you're buying it, you can reduce its cost. The other setup of the game is every player, and so since I'll be playing solo, every player gets 3 of the estate cards to start and 7 of the copper cards. And you just need to shuffle those up. And basically, it's a deck building game where you're going to pull out 5 cards at a time and play 1 action and 1 buy, unless you have cards that allow you to modify that. And then you discard whatever you don't use, and then you draw 5 new cards from your deck. So you're going to have your hand, you're going to have a deck, and you're going to have your discard pile as you play. All right, so that's the basic idea. Now, I'm going to just play a couple hands real quick here to show you basically how you would do it in solo mode on this base level. Then I'm going to show you how I changed it to be able to play with Prosperity, because a lot of my favorite cards, several of these, are from the Prosperity expansion. So again, basic gameplay: choose 5 cards off your deck, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. And then I drew, not a good draw. So I have 3 estates and 2 coppers. So the estates have no buying power, so those are just going to go straight into my discard pile because they're not of any value to me in that regard. And I only have 2 coppers. So there's only one thing I can buy on here that's worth anything other than more copper, which is free. And in terms of my 10 cards here, I could buy copper, I could buy an estate, but in terms of my action cards out here, my choice of 10, the only one I can buy is a courtyard. And it's not bad. It's +3 cards. Put a card from your hand on top of your deck. And so for 2, I'll buy a courtyard. Now in the solo play, it's very simple. And that's one of the things I love about this. It's just a super easy thing to learn and play. After you've played, you give the automa or the AI player an estate card, and that's their turn. And then you're back to your turn. You play 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. So this time I know all my estates were in my last hand, so I've got 5 coppers. And so as I look here, there's only one worth 5. Oh, that's 2. There's a royal seal that's worth 5, and there's an action market card that allows me to take an extra card, an extra action, an extra buy, and an extra coin. So I can do a royal seal or a market. And I'm going to go ahead and buy the market first. I could buy a duchy, but general strategy, if you haven't played this game much, you don't generally want to buy too many of these victory cards early in the game because you can only buy new things with this deck of cards. And the more of these victory cards that you have in your hand, the harder it is to buy things. So I've bought a card, I discard, and the solo AI or automa gets his estate. All right, and so we continue to play like that. I'm not going to play any more right now. I'm going to reset this for how I do it with prosperity. I will tell you there are 24 estates, and I start with 3 in my hand. So I know that the AI could get 21 of them. And then there are 12 duchies, and I start with none of them, so they're all 12 there. 12 provinces, and I start with none of those, so they're all 12 there. And in the game with the solo mode, I just keep turning over estates for the AI, or unless I happen to buy some, until they run out. When they run out, I start turning over a duchy, 1 per turn, until they run out. And if there's provinces left at that point, I start turning over provinces, 1 per turn for the AI. And so they're just constantly gaining a victory card every turn. And at the end of the game, then we count up how many victory cards I have in my deck versus how many they have in their deck. So I'm going to pause and reset this and show you how I would set it up to focus in on using some of the extra advantages or extra cards that you can find in the prosperity deck. All right, I'm back, and I've set it up with the colonies from the Prosperity collection, which is worth 10 victory points but costs 11 coins, and the Platinum and Other Treasure that's worth 5 but costs 9. I really like playing with the Prosperity, or at least portions of the Prosperity collection in my games of Dominion. So I've still got the same 2 cards that I bought. I've still got the 2 same estates that wouldn't have changed just by adding these, and that's really the only difference. But one thing that I had to do to balance it, so I've played this version with the extra colonies and platinum a few times. And when I didn't have those in, it was fine to just use all the estates, all the duchies, and all the provinces, and it seemed to be balanced. I would win probably more than I would lose, but there was always a chance that I was going to get beat by the AI, just luck of the draw and things. So, but then when I started playing Prosperity, I was winning pretty handily, and so I had to do some different changes and adjustments. So basically what I've done is I've put all 12 colonies in, because it's pretty much impossible that I'm going to end up buying all 12 before the AI gets there. And then I took out, to keep the numbers constant, took out 4 from the provinces, 4 from the duchies, and 4 from the estates. So there's still the same number of victory cards there, but they're more weighted heavily towards the top. So the AI is going to run out of estates faster and then run out of duchies faster and get to the provinces and potentially even the colonies, or most likely the colonies, before the game ends. All right, so I'm going to play just a couple more rounds, and then I'll fast forward again to the end of the game and talk to you about the scoring. So it's my turn again. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. So my 5 cards this time. Wow, 5 again. I bought a market last time. I'm going to buy a royal seal this time. So that's my turn. And then I give another estate to the AI. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. And this time, another bad one with estates here. But I did draw a courtyard, so I'm going to go ahead and discard these courtyards here. The courtyard says +3 cards. Put a card from your hand on top of your deck. So I'm going to have to do some shuffling here to get 3 cards, because it's so early in the game I don't have enough to do that. All right, so draw 1, 2, and 3. There's my deck. And I drew a market and 2 more coppers. And I can't use the market because I only get one action per turn, and there's no added action here on the courtyard. So I'm going to put that on top of my deck. And now I've got the 3 coppers. And I could do the shanty town for 2 actions. Reveal your hand. If you have no actions, then you get 2 cards. That might be actually decent right now because I don't have that many cards, but I think I'll just go kind of typical strategy and grab a silver. And then again, the AI gets their estate. Let's do one more hand and then fast forward. So, ooh, not good. 3 estates again. I gotta get those. I gotta do a better job of shuffling. But I do have a market. I knew that was going to be on top based on the last one. So it gives me an extra card, an extra action, an extra buy, and an extra coin. So I'm going to draw my extra card. And so now I've got a royal seal and a copper. The royal seal says while this is in play, when you gain a card, you may put that on top of your deck. And then I get the extra coin from the market. So I really have 4 coins here. And I'm going to take a baron. A baron says +1 buy. You may discard an estate card if you do, +4 coins. Otherwise, gain an estate. So that one's kind of nice early. You can get rid of some of those estates, thin out your hand a little bit to make it a little bit richer in coins. So that's basically, if you haven't played much Dominion, a few hands just so you can see sort of the flow of how it works. And with the solo, right there, I just bought the Baron, so I just finished my turn, so I would need to give another estate to the AI. So every time you play a hand, the AI gains a card, and you just keep going until they run out. So I will go ahead and pause the video and then play out the rest of this game and then show you how the score goes, and you can see if I was successful or not against the automated solo player. All right, so I've finished up the game and I've got my cards down here on the right. These aren't really that important, but you can see I didn't end up with very many action cards. I bought quite a few treasure cards. I had my copper to start with, but I bought hordes and royal seals, some silvers, the bank cards, some golds, and some platinums. I had a lot of treasure with just a small handful of action cards. These nobles are action/victory cards, so I'll show you how those score in a minute. But first, let's look at how the AI did. So one thing about this, it feels like you're just blowing the AI away when you're playing in this prosperity because they're just getting 1 point per turn, and for a while they're the only ones scoring generally. At the beginning of the game, you're building your engine. But by the time they're running out of estates, you're usually starting to get an engine big enough to start buying provinces and then maybe the occasional colony. But then it ramps up and they start catching up pretty rapidly. And so this turned out to be a pretty close game. And actually, to be honest, I had quite a few very lucky turns where I just turned over exactly, I had a market and turned over exactly the card I needed to be able to buy a colony or a province. So I would say I had a very fortunate game, and I did win, but just barely. So in the end, the AI had 5 colonies for 50 points, 2 provinces, so that gets them up to 62. They got all 8 of the duchies for 24 points, so that gets them up to 86. And then they had all 17 of the estates that I didn't start with, and so that gets them up to 103. And then I ended up with 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 colonies for 70. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 provinces for 36, so 106. And then I got 2 nobles. And the nobles are nice because you can choose to either take 3 cards or 2 actions in the game, but they're also worth 2 victory points each. So I had was 106 plus 4 more, so I got 110 to 103 that the AI earned. And it really could have come down to 1 turn. If I would have not scored just 1 time and the colony got 10, that's a 20-point swing. Or the AI got 10, that's a 20-point swing. And I only won by 7 points. So you have to have a pretty clean game to beat the AI. And fortunately, this round I did. So hopefully that makes sense. If you have any questions, you can let me know in the comments below. If you appreciated this video, learned from it, or enjoyed it in any way, please choose to click subscribe below. And check out my channel if you want to see some of the other videos that I'm putting online. Thanks for watching. This is Bill Indiana saying see you later.